always been praying for. I've always prayed for someone who is very strong in the Lord, who is a Christian, who is married, because marriage is a whole ministry on its own, who leads women and very prayerful, very organized. I just, everything about her, when I got to know about the organization, I just wanted to be part of it. So even when I was in London, I think one time when they got an award, I was in northern part of England, and I did everything possible to get to London just to be part of it. So when you go to our website on our Facebook page, there are pictures that I'm in there and people are wondering how I got in there. So I'm also using this opportunity to encourage anybody that whenever such programs happen, make sure that your face is in the picture, because those things stay forever. So I got to know more about the organization. And even though I came back to the US, I've always played the role I've always played. And I'm grateful that I'm part of this organization. So Pastor Jessica is a wonderful, wonderful leader, very humble, very lovely, very funny. You'll get to love her if you get closer to her. I know there are those of you who feel a little distance, but get closer to her and you get to know who she is. And I'm so happy that she's going to talk about this topic, and it's her life story, and we get to understand where she's coming from. And if today is your first day of joining us and you don't know who we are, please go to our website, which is mwatw.org. And we, Women at the Living Well, we are an empowering community of women. We help many to see themselves in our transformation, in our transformative stories. As we share our experiences and wisdom that address women's fears, past scars, and present limitations, we gear them towards a positive future. We energize women in business, marriage, education, and community involvement to increase their participation, contribution, success, and all-round fulfillment. By generating and sharing fresh insight and knowledge, we collaborate, connect, amplify voices, and help women make impact in the community they belong. So thank you very much for joining us today, and I know you're going to enjoy this program. Thank you. So Pastor Jessica, please take it from here. We are really honored to be doing this work with you. God bless you.
God bless you, everyone. God bless you, Lady Grace. It's indeed also a privilege to work with you, Lady Joyce, and everyone that's on the platform right now. Just give me a second. I'm trying to share this on Facebook because we are live right now on YouTube. Okay. If you can go to YouTube, you just type in Wow Global, WATW That's where we are live right now. I'm trying to share it, post on Facebook. Okay, I've posted it on Facebook as well. Copy to,
Okay, so I can go ahead and talk more about what we do whilst you share it on Facebook. Is that okay?
Yeah, okay, yeah, you can. Sorry about that. I'm trying to also share it on continue to chat.
Okay. Also, Sister Joyce, can you talk to us about yesterday, what Germany chapter you had a program, right?
Yes, we had our family fun day yesterday, the German branch, and we were many that turned up, many families, children, teenagers, and parents. We were all there at the beach, and we had a kind of games. We had we were swimming, and we had like a picnic. We ate together and we sang together and danced together. It was a whole day.
Okay.
during this COVID period. And it's really interesting to see that the place was filled up, about 1,000 and over 1,000 people that turned up in that beach area, many people crowd. So it was really wonderful yesterday. And we still post our pictures later. Thank
you. Okay, ladies, the link is on our chat now, on our WhatsApp chat.
Okay.
Yes, and you're free to share, as well as Facebook. I've at least I've gotten something new today. Okay.
Okay. So I'll.
Okay. All right then. I'm ready now. Yes. Thank you so much, everyone. Please do help me to share the link, because many people will go on our Facebook group and they'll be waiting for us live. So do let them know we are YouTube live, and that's the link to follow to join us on YouTube, as well as please make sure you subscribe and also like, and feel free to comment and add your own comment as well if you have any. And also, if you want to join us on the show, or as we go on today, you have something to say, please do indicate, and Lady Joyce or Grace will give you, if we have time, we'll give you opportunity to talk. It's an Endless Possibility Talk Show, as Grace and Joyce has introduced. And today I'm the privileged speaker. By the way, my name is Jessica Edmond, and we're going to be talking on what I think 8 steps to resurrecting a dead marriage, or to resurrect a dead marriage. How to also find true love if actually you've been divorced, or you lost your husband, you're single parent. We are also going to talk about how you can get married again if you so wish, if that's what you want to do, and be happily married ever after. Then we're going to crown this particular series with the power of self-discovery. I would say that the last one, the power of self-discovery, is like the husbandman of the two top one, the steps to resurrecting a dead marriage and the finding true love again. There's no how you can do these two without first of all knowing who you are, because it takes self-discovery for you to be able to know what you want in marriage, what is missing, and what to do about it. It also takes self-discovery for you to leave your past behind and pursue and get whatever that. And then one thing good about this topic that we're going to treat today is that I've experienced the 3 steps. I have a testimony of the 3 steps. I've been a single parent, and I have also found true love. My own marriage has been revived, and I also have discovered my purpose, which is also self-discovery. And so we're going to be looking at all those things. So when I give, if I begin to talk my life story, it's going to be too long. So we're going to take it step by step. And I believe we're not going to exhaust the topic today, because the topic is like vast and bigger, and we can put it in part 1, part 2, if not part 3 as well. So we're going to take it step by step. As I go on, I decided to make it like, if I give a point, I give my own life experiences that are related to that point. Thereby, you'll be able to catch something along the way. But if I give my life story, that means we're not actually going to get much than the way I did it now. So we're going to, so wherever we stop, we'll continue from there the next week. And I know that you're going to enjoy your time with Women at the World today. Yeah. First and foremost, I will start by saying that me and my husband, and also a disclaimer, what I'm going to be sharing today, it's some of the intimate times I have had with my husband, and I'll also let him know that I'll be talking a bit on our experiences to help other people who might be struggling in that area and or who are looking forward to having what we had already, because this is what the show is all about. It's about using their experience and their story to help other people to also come up. So, and he gave me go ahead. And I'm still going to be sharing some of the experiences and some of the people that has also share their own with me. So some of them also have eye contact to say if I'm allowed, and they give me a green light to share if it warrants. So there are going to be a lot of life experiences. Also, I'm inviting you, if you have experience, you have something about what I'm going to be talking about today, you have comment, please feel free to make a comment, especially on our YouTube. And do make sure that you subscribe, share to friends, comment, and like, so that whenever we go live, you will also be getting the notifications. I will start by saying that me and my husband have experienced many seasons in our marriage, even though it's not been as old as Dr. Eno or Grace Collingwood, but for the time we've married, we've experienced a little bit up and down as well, but not and not all the seasons were enjoyable. There's also some seasons that were not enjoyable. There's also some seasons that were also enjoyable. But the device statistic shows that falling out of love after marriage is very common. In fact, 75% of couples who got married within a year fall out of love. And 68% of couples who got married even within 6 months start preparing to divorce. Well, majority of them doesn't, but at least they start looking for a way to divorce. They don't want to do it again. So when you hear people say, I don't just like him again, I don't love him again, and stuff like that, so it's not a big deal. It's not a new thing. It's common. It's a kind of recurring thing. And some studies also show that about half of the marriage end in divorce. About half of them, 100%, about half of the marriage, 50% of marriages end in divorce. Just like I said, 68 has, in the first scene of their marriage, they've started going to divorce. But 50% of these people end, of these couples or marriages end in divorce. They don't want to stay together again. So sometimes it is scary when we look at social media, what is happening, especially this last 1 week or 2 weeks. Great couples, great celebrities that I adore, I love, I'm a fan of, just having reckless breakage marriage that I don't even imagine, you don't even know how to go about it. So that is the time and season we are in right now. And it can seem like it's coming out of nowhere. No, but the reality of it all is that we've reached the point where we feel like you are no longer in love, or your marriage is dead. It's been happening over and over. So this is the reason why we decided to choose this topic, me and my team, to begin to discuss it. Because marriage, I tell you, is a sweet thing, but sometimes and all the time, you need a lot of work to make it work. It's not for lazy people. Marriage is not something you could just come and sit down and begin to enjoy. No, it needs to be worked out. It needs to be agreed upon. You need strategic steps and the conscious steps to be able to work out the marriage and make it work. It is just like how people falling out of love or falling in love in marriage is not something that just occur overnight. Just like being in debt, heavily in debt, is not something, it's a conscious, sometimes steps, and it doesn't just happen overnight. It takes a step, one step at a time. The debt was created by one financial decision after another. You borrow from there, you borrow from there, you make some investment, you lose and you give out, you make some silly mistakes and stuff like that. These are also, until it reached an overwhelming a point where you can no longer be debtors and stuff. The same thing in marriage. It's out of carelessness, one step at a time, that we've been doing one thing over and over that is not even working, that we take it for granted. Sometimes our partner will be complaining, sometimes they'll be telling you that they don't like this thing, and sometimes we take them for granted and disrespect them. It's all accumulated to the height where it says, and it also a series of choices that lead to massive death. The same thing also in the season of marriage, series of choices that we make that lead us into act of love. Or I believe there are 5, at least today we can catch, though I had 8, but we can catch up to 5. We can focus to bring to life our marriages, to fall in love again, revive it again, in becoming the wife we love and becoming the husband we love, to see where we can revive our marriage and make it work again. And hopefully, if we're able to trash that one next week, we're going to be talking about the steps that we will take that will land us back for if our marriage is completely dead, the step that we take for us if we want to actually get married. Number 1, we're going to be looking at is rebuilding your foundation. If your marriage has come to the cracking point where you don't feel loved and you don't want to love, you don't want to listen, where you just sit down and talk, where you just sit down and come to complain and nag, the women will say we nag, and this one say he doesn't care, he doesn't talk to me and stuff like that. Everybody's doing their own thing. You may not have started with a good foundation in marriage, however, but if so, you have drifted. You need to revisit that same foundation. Think about the guiding principles in your life and your relationship. If you have ever set a solid foundation, it is never too late. No foundation is built and without first having an idea of what the result will be like. When you said, I do, what did you envision in your marriage? I believe that one way or the other, even if it's fantasy, even if it's something that is not realistic, we just have something in mind as we're going into marriage. Because there's no how, you must not have like a daydream, you must not feel a kind of butterfly. There's some things that you were looking at, if I get married, for instance, I'll wear this shoe. If I get married, I'll do this, I'll have children. You just like some things that makes you don't sleep at night. So what are those things that you are envisioning in your marriage? Those are the things that right now we are looking at rebuilding the foundation. Those are the foundation of your marriage. And when you remember your spouse, whether a man or a woman, you begin to think about it. And more importantly, what did you envision in those days, in those things? Let that be your start to rebuilding the foundation of your marriage. There's this one that said, what takes you into marriage sometimes is also what will take you or what will keep you in marriage. There's also another story of a lady who went to the pastor and was complaining about how the husband, the newlywed, is beating her and stuff like that. The pastor asked for one question: where did you find the guy? And he said, "Oh, find in a nightclub." And during your courtship, did he beat you? Yes. So why do you think you want to change it now? He said, but now it's getting too much. Yeah. So, but that's where you started, and that's where he started. That's the foundation. And if time is not taken, you will continue like that. And if you say you don't want it again, it's likely you have to divorce. So most times the foundation to our marriages, where we find our spouse, has a lot to do with the next step, which we are going to be taking, if it's to divorce or if it is to stay. Now, in my own foundation, I have a very rocky marriage as a young lady, and I have a very rocky time as well as a young woman when I was, I'm not the type of person that is always in love. I'm not a boyfriend type of person. I don't, my life is not, I'm not the kind of person that's always like looking out to get a boyfriend. No. I get a boyfriend because of peer pressure, but for me, it's no way of life. Just for me. But if you do that, if that's where you grow up, I'm not judging you, but that's just my own personality. And it's also important that I let you know everything I'm going to share is my own personal experience. Marriage is individual. It depends on how you live or what works for you. What works for me may not work for you. What I am doing may not be palatable for you. So I'm just sharing my own experience. Does not mean that you have to do it that way. But if it works for you as well, oh, of course, I'll be happy. But just to let you know, in that situation, you are not alone. Somebody has been there. I've been there. Somebody else may have been there. But our decisions, that's what makes the difference. So I have a rocky start. When I eventually got married, at a later day, I didn't have a child on time. I did say it. And that always make the marriage unbearable. But after like 6-7 years, I didn't want to go, not because I was enjoying the marriage, no, but because I had nothing to show for the 8 years. So that's what I was looking for, that I had nothing to show for the 8 years. And I was begging God, if it's just one, please give me just one, for them to take over maybe what I was, because I just see myself that I was endowed, I was blessed. You know who you are, irrespective of what the situation around you is saying. So now sing it. He said, don't judge me by the environment. I know who I am. That's one of the Sinai song. Yeah, you may not see the glory now, but I know who I am. So I already know who I am, that I'm highly endowed, and God graced me. And for some, so I needed, I said, I thought I'd missed it in terms of relationship. However, finally I got pregnant, and I said, I'm not doing again, that I am not doing again. And it's so funny, the pregnancy is not even up to 1 month. That was how desperate I was to actually get out of, because I feel like I was being abused. I feel I was taken for granted. I feel unloved. I feel used in so many ways. So I said, I'm not doing again. But this decision took me for almost 4 years on my own with the baby. So when I finally found my husband, for us to remarry and reunite again, I think I was able to value him. And I thank God that everything worked the way it worked. But what did he say? He came back and he said to me, I remember when I met him, he said one thing. Are you married again? I said no. And he now said, I'm going to marry you. That was it. There was no, he said, I'm going to marry you. And it's like a joke. I wouldn't tell you every other thing because it's a long story. But once he said like that, that was the foundation of our marriage. What was I looking for? At the point, he didn't have money. In fact, he was in his lowest point. But I believed in my own self. I believe that I have what it takes to make money. I have an ideas. I have experience. I may not even have cash. However, when we kick off, we now redo our marriage and everything went well. But to my greatest surprise, he was working when we got married. After we got married for 3 years, he was out of work. So what saw me through those periods was still the fact that I have been by myself for these 4 years. I've been the one looking after the kids. I got a living mind there. I was paying the person. I was working 2-3 jobs. I was doing everything, and I was so preparing for this. So I said, okay, I keep pushing. One day turned to 1 week, 1 week turned to 1 month, 1 month turned to 6 months, 6 months turned to 1 year. Everything wasn't working, but we were strong. We were just strong. But it was a lot of pressure on me to be able to. But one thing he did that I love so much, which not so many other men does, is that my husband actually helped me in domestic work, like cooking, cleaning, looking after the children, supporting me in every way. He was doing it, but I wasn't even appreciative from that period. I wasn't even appreciative. I was also complaining. He wasn't also a happy person. But we pushed through until we come to a point. What the things that we did. Number one is I told one of my friends, this is what is happening. He said, go and pray. So from the time we prayed, things begin to turn around. And then we had a mentor as well, who we confided in, this husband and wife. He kept telling us, you people have to make it work together. You people have to continue staying together. But today, long story short, after we revisited our foundation, talk about why we love each other, why we come together, why we lived apart for these years and stuff like that, our experiences, that's the foundation I'm talking again. We began to see reasons why we should live together. But one thing he has said, among all the quarrel talk that we've had together, he keeps saying one thing: I don't want to marry another woman. I will grow old with you. I will grow old with you. That's always what he ends his words with. I don't want to marry another person. I will grow old with you. My parents did not divorce. I'm not going to divorce, but you can divorce and go your way, but I'm still going to wait for you to come back. So he always end it with this word, which also is part of our foundation. Most of the time when I'm thinking, what do I do with this man? How do I cope with this situation? I will always remember all this words. I will calm down a little bit. But today, the story has changed. I can't remember when I paid the rent last. I can't remember when I bought food in the house last. I can't remember when I bought those things that I was doing on a daily basis last. It wasn't easy, but he's been supportive. But more importantly, above all, is that during that our foundation, he's been helping me in the kitchen, with the children. As you all know, is not, you can't pretend about all those things with what I do. So it's been the bedrock behind what I do. So we keep visiting the foundation. That is it. Now I come to you. If your marriage is on the brink of breaking, what is your own foundation? What made you to get married? What were the first things that you said to each other? What were the things that you need to communicate? When you are having misunderstanding, what are the things that you say last? What are the things that he say last? Because sometimes you get upset, you say a lot of things. But at the end of the day, there's one thing that will keep reoccurring, or you keep saying over and over. Those are the foundations of the marriage that has been saying from onset. So those are the things that you bring it life and begin to talk about it. More importantly, what are the things that you envision in your marriage? This is what I envision. What I'm doing now is what I envision. I wasn't looking for a man that has the whole world. I wasn't looking for a man that, I just needed a man that will support me in what I do. And being able to stay there, I could live with my children, because I know I am not like a woman kind of woman. I have like this kind of man attitude in the family. I like to work, make money, do this, do that. I'm a very ambitious person, but my husband is opposite of me. He can support you, go anywhere, do whatever you want to do. He doesn't really care. I am not an eating type, but I like to cook. I can cook. If I'm cooking now, cook three what's it called? Coolers of rice. I pack them. I have how many freezers? I have 4 deep freezers, and I pack food there. After cooking, I may not eat it, but if my husband wants, if I'm eating, I don't sit down to relax to eat like like I'm at home. No, anything goes. Once I'm hungry, I have it. But my husband is opposite. If my husband wants to eat, he eats like a king. He eats like he can eat a whole cow. He can eat like a whole goat. You just bring it and let's finish it now and then. That's how he eats. And when we started, he irritates me. Could you be eating all the meat at the same time? What about the soup? What about this? So, but at some point, I know that this is how he grew up, from his family, from his sister. This is how they eat in their family. And now I realize that this is, then I begin to visit his own foundation. I begin to marinate it with my own life. We are opposites of each other. What did I do? I begin to learn to adapt to living. Okay, eat it and you buy it. You buy with your money, you eat. Madam, put extra in your money. So I keep using this language. Madam, put extra in your money, kill. And once you finish, you run it out. Anyway, so that is how we visited. I don't care now. I get over it. And those things that were causing all these little forces that spoil the vine is no more. So in visiting my own, rebuilding my own foundation, this is how I was able to rebuild it. The second point I would like us to look is communication. If your marriage is hitting the rock, apart from relationship, communicate regularly. One of the things that would have also destroyed my own marriage was lack of communication, negligence. You don't just talk, you're just unhappy, you don't want to talk to anybody. So if you don't want to talk to your spouse, who do you want to talk to? So it's not like you want to talk or you don't want to. It's not a choice. It's compulsory. It's a requirement for the successful of every marriage. If your marriage is, you want to resurrect your marriage, one of the places, one of the things you do to resurrect your marriage is communication. Reports that happy couples, what's it called? Statistics reports that happy couples are more likely to communicate with one another, often more than unhappy couple. In turn, the more open couple is about their wants and needs. You know, when we communicate openly about our wants and needs, and the more likely they are to report high level of marital satisfaction. So whatever you want to do, feel free to let your husband know, feel free to let your wife know, feel free to communicate, vice versa. Even the commonest things, fly that pass, people that you meet in the bus, come, just make it, we come back, you just say those things that you will call your friends to say. Make your friend, make your husband, make your wife, your gossip partner communicate. And this brings marital satisfaction. When you come in, or if there's a very good communication level in the family, when you come in, you will begin to miss each other because you want to tell him how you feel or what happened when you went out. This creates positive cycle of communications and the happiness in marriage. You have to create it. It's not, it doesn't just come like that. You have to create it. Communications are in levels. Our posture says a lot. I'm listening. Our eye contact. Those are ways of communication, but I don't want to go into that today. But I just communication, listening and speaking, and also hearing each other. There are some times that we communicate, we just communicate, but we don't listen, we don't hear, we don't understand. So those are the things. Eye contact when you are communicating is very, very important. And also, on the other hand, marital distress is just like communicator improves. Just like, could you please pause your put your videos on pause, please. Hello.
So Jessica, I think you can.
I'm trying to pause again.
I was saying you can.
I don't know who is making noise.
It's Obina, Ambassador Obina.
Where is it? Oh, thank God. I think I got it. Okay, so on the area of communication, just like communication revives your marriage, you also, when there is no communication, it brings the whole environment down. You know, on the other hand, you might experience marital disinterest or distress. When you become you are not interested in communication, it brings distress in marriage. In fact, there's no how two of you can live successfully if you are not communicating with each other. And when you are distressed or disinterested in marriage, often it leads to the negative communication behavior and poor problem solving skills. Things you normally will be able to do, you cannot solve it accurately because of poor communication. So how can you turn things around in your own situation? How can you raise a good communication vibe between you and your husband? How can you make your environment a very easy and bright and a lovely place to communicate? So now the question is, how can you? Do I have such problem? Yes, I did have. How did I do my own? Yes. Just like I said, initially, I didn't like to be talking because I was also, I have a lot of burden, I have a lot of things going on in my marriage. When we got married earlier on, I was the one carrying everything. So was doing this, going to school, going to this, going to that, have to do this. So it was too much for me to be. So there was no, sometimes I'll come in, I'll know, my face alone tells it all. You know, my husband will greet me, I'll just like, and he will be like, I'm even with this, it's not even talking, it's not answering. So you could just imagine the environment, very hostile. Even I'm not saying anything, but my appearance, my posture, the way I walk and do things, just go to bed, go out in the morning, tells a lot. Nobody can stay in such environment, you know. But thank God that I did not lose everything out of that kind of attitude. I would have lost everything, but I did not. So what did I do? And also I started talking, giving attention. I wrote down how many times I called my husband in a day, wrote down how I would discuss. Those things I want him to be discussing with me, I start discussing it with him first. If I want him to be telling me about a woman friend in his life, I start talking about my own, something like that. And also one of the things that destroyed communication that was a problem when my husband was withdrawing was that when he tells me something, when I'm angry, I'll say it back at him. So, and when we make up, it doesn't tell me again. So I stopped using all those things as a weapon of warfare to fight. So those are the things that helped me. So one step is that you stop using things that you speak when you are happy or discuss about somebody, especially family members. Stop using it against each other. It destroys a lot of trust. It's commonly done. It's commonly done. The husband talk about his brother, his sister, or you just know, of course, you are married and you know something about the family issue every time you keep bringing in, or then he too he will use your own against you. He destroy, because even when you make up, that thing will still be hurting you. Sometimes you say you don't remember the one you say, you'll be remembering the one he say against you. You talk about my mom like this. You talk about my mom. What about me? What about the one I talk? So we don't remember the one, you know, that we talk. So the thing will still be so. These are the things we need to watch against. We are friends. We are not competing with each other. We've come to live together, work as a team forever. So one of the things I do, the things I was angry my husband wasn't telling me, I started using myself to tell him. And I did it for some time. It looks like it wasn't working, but all of a sudden, he break loose. He loses his guard. So he now finds it interesting to discuss such things with me. But those I wasn't, it's not working, it's not working, it's not working, it's not working. I'll just be saying in my heart, because I'm saying it because I wanted to get something. But then, you know, one day we were just like, after I said my own, he now said his own, and then from there, it becomes part of, and those are the things that sometimes you begin to suspect things that are not necessary. But because of lack of communication, the things, because already you have something peppering you in the mind, you don't know how to say it out, you begin to act it unconsciously, and it's sending a negative signal to the other side. Okay. So now, just like I said, you start small. You don't have to communicate about the deepest. Just like I said, that is what I did. You start little by little. Begin to, not that you have to say all your secrets that, you know, that will bring problem about that happened 100 years before you go married. You don't have to do that. But you just like simple things that happen place of work, because you're not going to be misbehaving when you go to work. So all those kind of kind gestures that you get from maybe opposite said this, that doesn't mean anything. You just say it casually. If you want to be getting, it depends what you want to be getting in response. That's why you say, okay, that's fine. And also, darkest fear to get closer. No, you don't have to create fears, you know. Begin with something simple like asking your partner how about their days, how things has gone and stuff like that. You say, oh, mine went well. Somebody like this gave me something at work. And I was like, oh, why did you buy me this? Why did you buy me coffee? He said, oh, I just bought you coffee. He said, okay. I said, okay, I'll take it. Then that's it. You know, you let him know. So you want to know if he has somebody as well buying him coffee. So you have said your own casually. Then from there, before you know, it becomes like a family value. It becomes something you say in your family without feeling any guilt or any kind of, you know, feeling bad. And that great idea of how to revive your marriage is to talk take 30 minutes a day. If it's possible, take 30 minutes. If you people can write in the sand 30 minutes a day for no phone call, no no communication from any other person, 30 minutes every day. If you don't know how to, if you are no good communicating, you want to bring it out for two of you to get to know each other better, to communicate and relate to each other, you can take out 30 minutes every day to build your communication skill. That will also help. And when you do that, you turn off your phone, enjoy some quality time alone with each other. And you put your children, okay, this is public. I wouldn't say put your children in blanket. I wanted to make a joke. So, just say keep your children away and have a good time together. Practice tech-free communication, tech-free time together. That's no technology, no computer, no phone. Tech-free time alone with your spouse. You know, it helps to boost vulnerability and trust. Then don't keep communicating in the kitchen alone or in the parlor alone. As married couples, your marriage is going down. As he's communicating to you, you're in the kitchen. Keep moving little by little, take steps to the bedroom so that it will end in bedroom. So you two, you know what you're looking for. You want to revive marriage. He may not know because he's not in this show, but this is the topic we are treating. You are the one that had it. You're the one that will strategize. You're the one that will put it, it will begin to implement what we are doing. As you're communicating in the parlor, in the kitchen, finish quickly, leave it behind, begin to draw him and let it not end in kitchen, let it end in what? In bedroom. Good communication makes it easy for you to have a good sexual satisfaction where there is communication. That because the communication has broken down for some time, it might be that the sex life also has broken down. So now you are trying to revive a dead marriage. You people have just been cohabiting. Do your own, I do my own, keep your own, I keep my own. But now you want to bring it past. Those things that you talk and finish in the parlor, this one go to watch television, this one just take his bath and rush to sleep, wrap himself because he's going out in the morning. As you are communicating, draw it and let the communication end in bedroom. So from there is intimacy, wrap with the talk, with 30 minutes tech-free practice, family time. Before you know it, your marriage, the Holy Spirit will begin to breathe the breath of understanding, the breath of life, and they begin to come up again. You know, so that's one. Not only does communication result in greater sexual satisfaction, both in men and women, but it also helps the woman to feel trust, to feel loved, and to feel that she's not used. You know, in so many cases, and after sex, if there is no communication, the woman naturally feels used. There's this kind of desire in women to be talked to after sex. So when you started it with communication, end it with sex, communication goes on, the woman, not just only that the man and the woman is satisfied, but you also, as a woman, you feel loved, you feel appreciated, and you feel strength, you feel strong to go in about the next day duty and the plan other things. Okay, yeah, I'll still have a little bit of time. Then the third one is draw a line in the sand. Draw a line in the sand. The first one we talked about was rebuild your foundation. The second one was communication. The second one was communicate regularly. Then the third one we are going to look at now is draw a line in the sand. Let's be completely real. Marriage is not a joke. Two people with two different upbringings, background, from two personalities and two different life experiences coming together as one. There is nothing easy about that. There's no how you can see it that it is easy. Our parents did not tell us it is easy. Our mom did not tell us it is easy. Our dad did not tell us it's easy. Nobody has said it is easy. Therefore, there will come a time where you will feel stuck and there may come a time where you want it out altogether. You just want to do away with it. This is where you draw a line in the sand, and not just once, but every single time any of those feelings comes up, you write it on the sand. No leave, no transfer. We've come this far together. We are going to end it together in good and for peace and for love. Your line in the sand says you will not entertain anything except making this marriage work. That's the kind of line you draw in the sand. There is no other thought you will entertain. Divorce is not an option. Fighting is not an option. Going to in-laws is not an option. But the option is whatever that will make the marriage work together, that you do together. That's what I mean by draw a line in the sand. No matter what the challenges we face together, we're going to face it together. We're going to overcome. We will persevere and make it work. And that means not just to stay together, but to have a fulfilled life together. We're not just going to stay because of our children, but we have a fulfilled life together. This means there is no more separation. There is nobody sleeping on the sofa. If we want to sleep on the sofa, we sleep on the sofa together. If we want to sleep on the floor, we sleep on the floor together. That is it. There's no more this one is sleeping there down. No more divorce. No, there's no mention of divorce or considering that's not an option. It won't be easy, but my sisters, it is possible. It worked for me. It also worked for you. So what I'm saying today is what I did for my own self, and it worked for me. And that's why I'm bold to say it on the national TV that it works. And it's not been easy. I am still working. It all takes a hard work. It's not something that you overlook. It's not something you lose your guard. It's something you'll be watchful and you work. You just have to decide that this marriage is going to work. Number 4 things quickly we're going to look at is put things back in place. Put things back in place. I don't know what you have faced in your marriage. You know, there may be things broken, feelings hot. You have told you something you don't just want to, like, you can't believe he's thinking of this about you. You can't believe he said this to you. He too can't believe you said this, because even though we are the one say you said it, but what about the ones too we said? Well, whatever that has been, it has been. Put things in place. Your marriage can be restored. That is the message today. No matter how dead it seems, it can be restored. Mine was restored. Mine was restored and is working now. So yours too can be restored. You know, the pieces can be put back together, just like you can put the pieces of your heart together, put things back together. But you know, one funny thing about all this is when boyfriend and girlfriend or we were courting, sometimes probably we say things that are hurtful, but we don't seem, it doesn't hurt. We were so much in love that those things it doesn't, but if he says that in marriage, you write it on the wall. Why? You know, and sometimes during the courtship when we are not married, even though no matter what he did, we quickly forgive and forget, make up and wear nice clothes and come back again and be in love as if nothing has happened. Even your friends will be surprised. You went back to this same man. You just like, oh, he begged me. I can't believe it. After all that sweat, So, but when it comes to marriage, we just wrote it on the wall. We'll keep going to that calendar on the 15th of January 1998. He said this. On the 19th of January, I wrote it down. I bring my dad. I used to do it. So that's why I know that it's possible to be referring to the back of 10 years. You keep going. I wrote it down. You see, I wrote it down. I wrote it down. I wrote it down. You keep bringing. I'm good in jotting things down. I keep bringing the date. And my husband is not good in keeping all those kind of records. Those are stupid records. At some point, he said, okay, I'm going to be, what's it called? Recording your voice so that you too, when you listen to the one he said. So anyway, so what I'm trying to say, put things back where it's supposed to, erase all those things, clean all those things, have a new life. The pieces can be put back together. This involves consistent doing the three things mentioned above. When you communicate wholeheartedly. But it also includes going the extra step or extra mile to make sure that this isn't reoccur. It means loving your husband unconditionally. It means loving your wife unconditionally by not dwelling on the past. Even God said, they say, leave those things that past, leave the past behind and to do a new thing. You want to resurrect something, you want to revive your marriage. You can't keep looking back when you're on motorway. You can't keep drawing back, pushing back. Leave them behind. It includes speaking to him in a way that makes him or her feel loved. There's this book, Love Language. I don't know if any of you have read it. Also, there's this another one that I love, her needs, his needs, all those things, 5 love languages. So you could get those love languages and use them for the purpose of making your marriage work. And most importantly, includes putting your marriage in a proper place and making it your priority. It's important for me to highlight this. I'm talking to myself now. Our children is not our priority. Our marriage is our priority. I'm talking to myself also. Let us be aware that our children is not our priority. Our marriage is our priority. The relationship with our kids is not number one. Our marriage is number one. When you make your marriage a priority, it gives life to both you, your husband, and your children. It makes everything work out well. But if the marriage is broken, even if you carry the children as a priority, the children will also be broken. You will be broken. There's no life. So marriage should be your priority, and then it takes every other thing along. Number 5, and the last point, is appreciate and enjoy your marriage. Appreciate and enjoy your marriage. I had a quote that said, you take your spouse for granted until you are walking by the casket. And you will always take your spouse for granted until you are walking by the casket. That is extreme, but it is real. Your wife, or me and my husband, we have my husband's friend called Ugochukwu. He died during the COVID-19, and very handsome, lovely, great guy, bubbling, wonderful guy, great guy, and he's also from my side. He used to go where my husband used to drink to one restaurant that they used to hang out to drink, and that's where they normally meet every Sunday. But my God, this guy just like said, Gochukwu is dead. Nobody ever believed it, but it was real. The wife came, everybody came. It wasn't like, but that young guy in his 30s died during the COVID. I couldn't just imagine it. Unexpected loss of spouse firsthand. When the wife, which I used to call my sister, lost the husband to this COVID-19, and when a close friend died of cancer as well, leaving behind our friend, all to herself, it was like a dream. So let us regard our family. Let us give a priority to it. Let us love our husband. Let us love ourselves. Let us enjoy each other's company. Let us enjoy our marriages. Let us take care of our spouses and our children. Our marriage can and they should prosper by all means. By all means. Your marriage can prosper, but it is to get to the point of prospering by taking one small action at a time over the course of your marriage. It's taking one step at a time over the course of your marriage. Now, I want to encourage you to take the action that will give life to, or take life from your marriage. It's up to you. So this is what I want to stop today, so that other people too can use the next 30 minutes to say one or two things if they have any experience. But before I go, I want to ask you, what can you do to bring life to your marriage, because we are here to revive with these 5 points of mine today. What is it that it can help you to do? Where is your own leakage that you need to do to bring life in your marriage? Next week, we're going to continue with how to find love once again for those people that they have divorced before now, but no one here now is permitted to divorce just because you are having misunderstanding. No, it is not permitted. However, if you are under abuse, beaten, your life is at risk, please do speak up and get help. But if you're here just because you're just having like husband and wife thing, it is, your marriage can be happy once again. You can live happily ever after again with this little point of mind, and also with other ones you will hear later. So next week we're going to talk about the steps to getting you back on course if you are single parent. Thank you so much for listening to me. I want to hand over to Minister Joyce, but I want to leave you with this. What can you do to bring life to your marriage? Ask yourself, what can I do to bring life to your marriage? Write it down, jot it down, look at it, think about it, imagine it, and let it come to pass. God bless you, and thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, ma'am. That was great. That was great. We have learned a lot in this topic today, and we cannot exhaust everything, just like our CEO said. I'll go ahead to see if Dr. Eno, you wanted to add something to what she said. Can you go ahead, please? Unmute yourself, ma'am.
Yeah, I just did. Thank you so much, Pastor Jessica. That was awesome. I appreciate it so much. There's so much that I'm going to pick out of what you just said today to apply to make my marriage a lot more fun than it is. What I wanted to contribute to this topic is marriage is not friendship. You can befriend a man or a woman for many years. When it comes to I do, and you move in, it is a total different scenario. It's not the same. In friendship, there's so much deceit, there's so much in the name of love. It's not real. This is why, like Pastor Jessica said, some people get in, I do, and the walk in is like, oh my God, what am I in for? This was not the woman I thought you are, or this is not the man I thought you were. Because we were not paying attention, we were just in the name of love, floating around. No, in marriage, you are moving in to form a bond, and that bond is called family. You are going to be together day and night. There's nowhere you can hide who you truly are. This is the shock that some people get when they get to know who they thought this person was, and it is not. And this is where some people get discouraged right from the beginning. It's like, oh my God, what am I in for? So that is number one. Always remember that friendship is not marriage. Number two, accept your partner for who they are. Do not try to change them to what? To who you are? Like Pastor Jessica said, we come from different backgrounds, sometimes from different cultures. So we married together. If you learn to accept your partner for who they are, oh my God, it's this awesome, wonderful, wonderful. Because you accept him or her, even if he does the opposite of what you do, all you need to know is, this is whom this person is. Accept him and be yourself and let him be himself.
Yeah.
And then you will not have all this fighting in between. Trying to change this person to be, like you talk of how you guys eat. It wasn't even funny because that's how I am. My husband eats small, frequent meals. I have 1 meal a day, I'm all done. I don't have time talk food, I'm like, what? But I have accepted him. I cook as much as I can, and he helps himself too, because I can't cook that many times that he eats. But because we have accepted each other, I have never commented about it, and that's it. So it is extremely, a lot of fighting in marriages is you not accepting your husband or your wife for who they are. You want to change them to who you are, and then they resist, and then you'll be fighting every day. The third thing is watch what comes out of your mouth. My mom taught me that once a word is out of your mouth, you cannot take it back. So for that reason, when I'm talking with my husband or we are talking and then I'm thinking before I say it, and she's like, you didn't answer me right away. I'm like, yeah, that's all I say. He doesn't know that I'm thinking of how, or even not to, I rather not even answer than say something stupid that will make us fight. Number 4, you talk of foundation for marriage. We are different. We see things differently, and we do things differently. I had learned right from my early childhood, like I had shared before, I was abused as a child. For that reason, I learned to lean on the Lord, even when I did not understand. I lean on him in everything. So when I finished, or when I was in nursing school, higher chances in my days when you finish secondary school, the next thing is marriage. But because I was abused, I wanted to go further in school. So marriage was not a thing to even be thought about then. So in my nursing school, I wrote 7 things that I wanted in my future husband. The first thing I wrote was, this person has to be God's choice for me. I strongly believe then that if it was God's choice for me, he will give me somebody that we can get along with, that will not be fighting. God knows me, he knows what I can handle, he knows what will fit me. That was my number 1 request. My number 2 request was, he has to be a born-again Christian, because if he's a born-again Christian, it will make the journey a lot easier. Number 3 was, he must not be a talker. As a kid then, I kind of figured out that men that talk a lot were just mouth and no action. So I wrote that down. I feel men should say less and act more. This was my childish way of thinking. My number 4 thing was, the person must be approved by my parents, because I kind of figured my parents love me. They have had that experience. They would advise me. If I ever brought anybody and my parents said no, I would have said, that's it, goodbye. Number 6, he must speak my language. My parents had never been to school. They don't understand English. I didn't want to send an interpreter when my husband is visiting my parents. So that was one of the things I put down. And then there was no divorce. Divorce was not an option. So when I'm in for it, I'm in for it. And the last thing was, Lord, at your own timing. Because if you had given me a man earlier, maybe I wouldn't have been able to fit him into my dreams, which was education. So I said, at the perfect timing. I get emotional about it. The Lord granted everything that I asked of him. I had never worried. I never had a boyfriend. I had no time. I did not have a hand. I did not know my husband. God sent his father as an angel to guide us. My father-in-law was my patient. I met my husband one day. The day I was going to remit my tuition to leave for the US. That was when I met my husband in the bank. He was a banker then. And he said to me, hi, nurse. I'm looking at him like, oh. He said, do you know my dad? My dad is on bed 1. I'm like, that's your dad? He said, yeah. I'm like, oh. I did not know. I had his dad for 2 weeks in the hospital. Each time he came in Nigeria, we work different shifts. We do not pick a shift to work. He used to check my schedule. Anytime I was on, he was there observing me from what he heard from his father about how I gave the father such good care and blah, 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 blah. I had never met him except that last day that I went to the bank. That was it. So be very clear of what you want. It's not selfishness, and ask of the Lord and he will give you your heart desires. So when God gave me my husband, it was in the marriage that my husband, I went home 2 weeks, got married, brought him back to the US. We did not know each other. We studied each other in our marriage. But because I have asked of the Lord, I trusted the Lord, I believe him, I knew that everything is going to be okay. Have that, know yourself. If I did not know myself, I would not know what I want. I knew myself, leaning on the Lord that he will lead me right. Marriage is not easy. I had shared this before. I said, the 3 hardest things I have done in my life is education, marriage, and raising my kids. And those are the most satisfying thing for me. So you have to know yourself in order to know what you want. If you don't know yourself, you may not even know what you want, and that will put you in trouble. I pray that those that are married have heard from Pastor Jessica to mend things where things are not going well. For those that are not married yet, ask of the Lord. Your God knows you very well. He created you. He will provide you with the best husband or the best wife. Right now in my life, I am human, but honestly speaking, I feel every day like I'm living in heaven on earth because of God's blessing on a sinner like me. Thank you so much for listening. Lean on the Lord and you will never regret anything.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Eno, for the contribution. Thank you very much. I want to check if we have some questions on the chat, because
ask Emma if she wants to say something.
Okay.
The one on the flyer, Emmanuel.
Yeah. Okay, then let's continue with contribution. Lady Immaculata, please, can you?
If she has.
Can you come up if you have anything to add to this? Thank you.
Yes, of course I do.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk. I'm just going to explain a little bit on what marriage is by giving 3 definitions of marriage. Our topic says 8 steps to resurrect a dead marriage. And when I got the topic, I'm like, resurrection, that means something died. So what died? And to my understanding, divorce is the death of a relationship. So if the marriage is dead, 2 things are involved. It's either you go the direction of separation or divorce. And it's no joke. It's like flogging a dead horse to wake up. People that have been through divorce haven't been, but it's not a joke. And it's not an option.
Yeah.
So don't think about going for that. Because for Christians, Malachi 2:16 says God hates divorce. What interests me most is that when God gives warning, he knows why. He sees ahead of you. And he knows what you will pass through if you violate that. So that's why he hates divorce. But there is another good news. He hates divorce, not the divorcee, not the actual person. He loves you. Luke 4:18 for Christians. So he's there as the healer. He's the one that binds the brokenhearted. Let's come to reality. When you buy a product in this country, there's an instruction that comes. If you have problem with this product, please bring it back to the manufacturer. They are the manufacturer, and their name, the name of the company is at stake. And they will make sure you are happy because their name is in question. Same with God. We can't treat this topic without mentioning God because he's the creator. That's the first institution created by him, and he's the manufacturer. Take it or leave it, but I'm sorry, which is true. So yeah, when people start to struggle in marriage, they go to another manufacturer. Come on. They're not the, the manufacturer, and they're not the manufacturer. That's one. Back to my definition, first definition of what marriage is. Marriage is a clash of two cultures, two experiences, two memories, two habits, two values. And that's the formula for destruction. Two different people coming together to live as one. It's not going to be smooth. You don't expect it to be bed of roses. And what we don't understand, the knowledge we lack is marriage, there has to be problems, struggles. If you don't experience that, you can't bond. It's a necessity. So when you see the problems popping up, it's not coming up to confuse you. It's coming up to join both of you, and you should fight together because you are into it together. The problem somehow I had from some, which when you look at it, is real. When you go to take vows, you face each other, which is wrong psychologically. When you start having problems, you're attacking your husband, the very right person you love. So the marriage should be back to back, with your sword in your hand to fight the enemy who is coming to bring division. So when you have problem, face the manufacturer, talk to God. He's the inventor of that marriage, he knows. And you fight the enemy direct and hit the enemy, not the person you love. So, but we do the other way around. Once you marry, just bear in mind that you are in a battlefield, and be ready as a soldier to fight for that man, for yourself, to keep that marriage. You have to create a balance, and to strike a balance is like riding a bicycle. You don't stop. You keep riding if you want to be moving. It's an institution, you start with a certificate, but that's not a guarantee you finish the course. You're just starting, and it's lifelong. It doesn't stop. You have to. As long as you are breathing, you have to continue. The second definition of marriage is a beautiful accommodation of another life. You have to willingly accept someone else into your life, to live with you, to tolerate. Once you make the decision before entering that you are not coming out, no matter what you go through, you will stay. People rush into marriage without actually thinking, and when you get in, you start the age of discovery, and it's not funny. When it's not, from my country, they don't really encourage young people to go into marriage because to them they feel you can't really handle. You don't have the knowledge yet. But things have actually changed. Even 60s, 40s, with the experiences and degrees, they struggle. You need knowledge. You need the wisdom to work the knowledge. Have you ever thought of doctors that smoke? Don't they know that smoke is not good for their health? But they smoke. They've got the knowledge. But do they apply it? No. It's a choice. Marriage is a choice. It's not everybody that can stay in marriage. Not everybody can deal with it because it comes with a law. As the day goes by, you see the packages unfolding, the age of discovery. I never knew this man is like this. So you have to have that endurance and that spare tire to keep moving no matter what. Take a deep breath and go. There's something Dr. Ness said. Doctor, I don't want to kill your thought there. Please, that mind what you say. I'm guilty of that. Think. Even my mom says, assume that you have water in your mouth. Don't talk, but I struggle when I struggle, to control my mouth. And once you say it, you let it out, you can't. So it's another hard work to retrieve, if it is possible to do so. So for us, both ends, what I've actually discovered in marriage is that once you are married, the men, they relax. It's now the ladies that work to keep the marriage. The men don't feel like they need to do anything anymore. And we struggle to, we are now riding alone to make it work. And people suffer in silence. They don't want to speak out. But, God hates divorce. Let me go that way again, because he knows the trauma people will go through if you go that direction. A bond cannot be broken. For you to break a bond, you have to tear it, and it's the ripping of the heart, bleeding of the heart. It's the pain is too much. No medication can heal it. No pill. Even if you drink, it wears out, you come back to square one. And the worst thing is the death of the relationship, the death of a relationship without burial. When people die, you bury them and you forget. But with divorce, no. You run into the filling station, you see him, oh, here comes him again. And nobody wants to see a dead person. Even as I'm talking to you, no matter how lovely and good you love me, if I pronounce dead today, you see me, you're on the run with your legs touching your head. You don't want to. The same experience people pass through when they lose someone they love. That's the same experience, emotional trauma people go through when they pass through. That's why God hates divorce. When he says, do not fornicate, he knows why. He knows what comes with it. And that which you don't see is what he's protecting your memory from. So think twice if you are single before you rush into what people are stuck in and are struggling over. Get the knowledge, think, make sure you have the right person, however you want to do the assessment, and make up your mind before you go in, because it's not a bed of roses. So you have that. And finally, my definition for marriage is it's a fuse. Marriage comes from the word gamio, to fuse together. So basically, is a fuse that is made valuable under pressure. Marriage can only be made under pressure, valuable when it goes through what you call difficulties, experience, hard experience, and yes, that's what it's supposed to be. So it's made valuable under pressure, under time. So when you are passing through the difficulties, you should be happy for what you survived in marriage, not what you achieved, because that's what makes a marriage. So it's supposed to be stronger instead of weaker when you are passing through problems. So if you understand that and enter and you are having, so you know the right thing to do. If you're a Christian, you pray, you talk to God to come in. The enemy is at work now, and not to start beating your wife or fighting the other way around. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Lady Markleta. You have been able to explain the meaning of marriage, and really the advice is really great, because as singles, when they don't take courage, they don't take care, and to adhere to all we have heard today. It's going to be like going into the same circle again. And from what we have heard, even those in the marriage, from Dr. Eno, even as chief speaker, for those in the marriage, it's not easy to keep the marriage going when they don't understand each other. So we have been learning a lot here. Thank you very much for your contributions. And we'll still go ahead because we have little time before we close today. Lady Grace, I don't know if you have something to add.
Question.
Oh,
There's a question that needs.
Yeah, there is a question. How do we, what are the causes of failure in marriage? I was thinking that we get the contribution, then get into the question with you.
Okay, because we have less than 10 minutes.
Yes.
What do you want? Do you want me to take it?
Okay, then take it before the lady. I wanted Lady Grace to simply to quickly come in, and then you take up the question so that you round up.
Let's do it like that.
Thank you, ma'am. Lady Grace, can you please come up? Thank you.
okay, thank you. So I also wanted to mention that we also have to know the temperaments. There are different, everybody has a temperament. So when you know your temperament, it really helps know how to understand the other spouse so that you can live peacefully. For myself, and also the backgrounds that we come from, my temperament is sanguine. Sanguine people, we can start a conversation anywhere. I can meet you on the street and I can come up with a story and we can talk and talk and talk. My husband is melancholic. He's like the kind that's extreme introvert. You know, there are two kinds of introverts and two kinds of extroverts. He's the extreme introvert. And he also is the only child of his parents. And he grew up in an environment where his parents were able to provide for him. He went to boarding house, you know, he had a bicycle as a kid, you know, that kind of lifestyle. And I come from a background where my dad died young and my mom had to travel to London. And it was just all six of us living in a house with my auntie who was like in her 20s. So you just wake up and the day is yours. You make a decision on your own. And so coming into, before we all joined my stepdad and my mom in the UK. So coming from that background where you just do things on your own and him being so sheltered, when we came together, it was a big struggle. And I thought that when you marry, you're not supposed to say anything. Every decision has to come from the man. And my husband was like really shocked. He's the kind that would be like, tell me what you think. And to me, I thought, well, a woman doesn't have to really say much. And I continued that for so many years. And it was just a matter of time. I'm an extrovert. So all of a sudden, when I was like, now I can let things out, the things that were just coming out, he was like shocked. He was like, who is this? I didn't even marry this you know? So we had big challenges in our marriage where, I mean, I wasn't going to divorce, but for him, I think he came to a point where he was like, do you know what? This is not what I married. And I don't think I can move on anymore. But then I had to make that decision that I'm a Christian and people are watching us. We hold positions in our church and people think that we are doing great. Sometimes we can fight in the car as we go to church. And as soon as we got there, hey, hallelujah, how are you? You know, that kind of fake lifestyle. At some point, I was like, what am I doing? You know, even if I die today, can I even go to heaven? So when I changed my attitude and started understanding his background, where he comes from and where I'm coming from, I realized that I had to really change. And thankfully, we got counseling. Some people come to me and they're telling me their problems, what their husband is doing. And I'm thinking, I'm going through worse than you guys are going through. So thankfully, this counselor that we got showed us 4 things. He said, most of the time in communication, we either withdraw, which is not good. Withdraw is like, you won't say a thing. And then negative misinterpretation. The person says something and you negatively interpret it, or they give you a flower and you're like, why is he buying me a flower today? Is he doing something? That's why he's buying me a flower. There's also withdrawal, escalation. You know, you get upset and you're communicating through your voice going up and up and up. And also, I think it's a weenie, it's withdrawal, escalation, negative misinterpretation, and something I can't even remember. But if you're able to see them as they come, like the escalation, you stop and you tell each other, you're like, listen, we are escalating, so we have to just stop. Go, let's come back. We have to come back and discuss it because it's very important. But when things have calmed down and you don't withdraw, that's what I used to do. If you don't hear me, I'm going to withdraw. You talk to me and I'm not listening. But now I've learned all these communication. Marriage, the number one thing I think is miscommunication that really destroys marriages. So I'll just leave it here. I think hopefully next week we'll continue to treat this topic and we can share some more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's great. That's great. Thank you very much for sharing that. You have already started answering the question.
Yeah.
And please, Pastor Jessica, you continue with that.
Okay. We're not gonna go in more detail, just like Grace has just said. One of the top reasons for failure in marriage is communication. That's what comes top. And communication failure in marriage. Once communication is started failing, marriage has started failing. In fact, in every area of life, if we can't communicate properly, we can't give or take handover, we can't understand each other, we start failing. And just like I said earlier, maybe next week we might take time to discuss different types of communication so that we give this teaching a base before we go into another lesson. However, communication is number one, a reason for failure in marriages. Once you start backing each other, criticizing each other, talking more when your spouse is not there, because sometimes you are in the house, you don't talk. You will pretend as if you're an angel. He will stay his own. Everybody will stay your own for peace, for love, for glory. You're using Bible to counter, and you know it's not really working. You know, so that's one. And then immediately your spouse leaves, you pick up food. You call your friend. You call your sister, you call your brother, you talk about everything the husband was doing, which you pretended you were not saying, or your wife was doing, you pretended you were not saying. That marriage is heading for fast crash. Serious one. Is an M25 for crashing, expressway. Then another thing that is failure that brings about failure, lack of intimacy. Lack of intimacy, when there is no sexual satisfaction in marriage, it breaks marriages down. The reason why I picked this as number 2 is that every other thing in life, a man and a woman is able to get, like married couple. You can get food from outside, is allowed, no problem. Your mom can cook for you, your sisters can cook. Likewise, vice versa. You can get money, people can give you money. But this is one thing that bound a man and a wife that you are not permitted to get from anywhere else. Then, when it comes to the male side, they live and breathe sex. Unlike women, they need sex to live. It's a part of their own mechanism to live. So if he's not getting it, he will definitely look for it outside. So when there is no sexual intimacy, the marriage is heading to crash. The next thing I will also bring here is good food at home. Me, I will end it with this story. I hope we finish in 2 minutes. I was the only woman among 9 boys. My mom pampered me so much. I didn't know how to cook. I just go to school and come, and sometimes my brothers would be the one to do everything. Cassava sweeping, the moms, I didn't give attention to cooking or house. I think my brother is still here, the same mother, the same father, is one of us here. So they would do everything. My mom would beat them on top. And me, I just travel and not do much. Then when I start growing, and when I grow, I live in Lagos. Luckily, for some reason, I was also in church setting. Well, I was also pastor. So women live with me, younger women live with me in the house. They cook for me, they wash my clothes. I wasn't paying them. They just follow from church, they come and live with me. So that I didn't need to learn to cook as well. So, but when I came here and they got married, it was, but I remember the first meat I did for my husband. You will laugh. That we were cutting. He came and he came to our house and I did meat. 1 bag of salt. In fact, the salt that I used for that meat, just to make it sweet, was them because I didn't know how to cook. I made the meat, like I put lots of salt so that it would, I keep testing it wasn't there. I keep packing salt and put salt and put salt and put salt and put. When he tested it, he thought like, am I correct? He just left it. He didn't. Then I said, oh, why you not eating? Why you not eating? Then he now put it inside. He said, can you wrap it? And wrap it. I believe he threw it away. A book changed my life called A Woman After God's Own Heart. By Elizabeth Judge, is an American woman. He also has this kind of upbringing like mine. And she didn't know how to cook. She was just making a quick thing. She was a beauty queen. Long story short, she learned how to cook in between. And she was telling us that if you want to keep your marriage as a woman, you learn how to cook. That was how I began to learn how to cook. I stayed in this London, even as a married woman then. I ate biscuits and bread for more than a year and just drink biscuit bread for more than a year. I didn't bother because I don't know how to cook. But after reading this book, as God may have it, they brought a lady who is also a caterer who taught me how to cook. And I start cooking. Cooking, I love cooking. But one thing with me, if I want to cook, I have to use the biggest pot. I doesn't cook small. I can cook for 3 days in a row. That's one side. I will cook all manner of food. I will pack it. I will clean for the whole week. If I cook, I can cook with 1,000 pounds. Just cook. Can cook. That's how I learned how to cook. So it is important we got this, how to cook. It's good that we know how to cook. I want to leave you with these 3 points. 1, sexual intimacy. 2, good communication skill, listening, eye contact, and posture. All those things are communication, body language. In fact, we form 75%. Then the next one is, apart from sexual satisfaction, cooking a very nice meal for your family, not to compete with another people, but for your family to enjoy your cooking. Even if you don't cook every day, like me, but when you cook, let your husband enjoy it. And I do it very, very well. So, Brother, I hope this one helps you. We'll continue with this next week because our time is fast spent. And I want to appreciate each and every one of you. This is what we'll be doing from now onwards, where we'll be taking on topics like this that are not easily found outside, mix it with our life experiences, share. So when you get topics that we share during the week and you have experience, you want to be part of the communication, you want to be part of the discussion, feel free to meet any of us, me, Joyce, Grace, Immaculata, Dr. Enna, or any women in the world, or Facebook on this, and also share for other families You may not give money. We don't give money now, but share for people to learn. Subscribe to our YouTube so that we could always have access to watch it, even if you forget to come on board. And also give people access also to do that. At least those are the things you can help the women of the world group. Once again, I want to say thank you to all my fellow speakers on the flyer, to all the faces and everybody that have joined. I appreciate and I love you all. Please feel free to get in touch if you want to be on a poster, if you want to share your story, if you want to be a speaker, and God bless you all. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Dr. Eno, I appreciate your loyalty. God bless you. Immaculata, Lady Grace, everyone that attended, I'm grateful. Bye, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
God
Thank
bless
you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
God bless
It was
Thank you, and
wonderful.
have a blessed
Thank you,
week.
everybody.
Thank you.
See you again next week.
Bye. Gorobina, thank you. I don't know if you're still
Bye-bye.
on. Bye. Please remember to share our YouTube. Now we'll be going live on YouTube. Grace, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Remember to share our YouTube.
Kachifuno.
Kachibo.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Felicity, thank you for staying put. Let me see.
You are most welcome.
Yes, Ambassador Obina, Jessica Edmond. Let me celebrate myself. Mr. Joyce, Marcia. Marcia. God bless you. God bless you. Ellen, I don't know who is Ellen, but I appreciate you. Nelly, all of you, God bless you. Wow, thank you for joining. I hope you all liked today's show. We're coming back next week with another wonderful one, how to get married. Wow, I will share a life story too.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
God
That
bless
was great.
Bye.
Bye-bye.